Erin, we have, it's kind of time to go to you. I wonder if you would mind if we just took two questions from the chat before we start with you.
Sure. Can everybody see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So if you want to, we had a question for Gerard. Let's see. Rebecca Allen is asking, does the statement forests absorb 90% of above ground carbon mean there is other absorption above the oceans is counted separately?
Yeah, I guess that's it's called the biosphere, and the vegetation. Well, it starts with the sun, that magical thing, um, where carbon dioxide is drawn down into plants and fixed. That's photosynthesis. That's an incredible, magical thing. That's how carbon is drawn down by plants. In the oceans, carbon dioxide is soluble in water. So it's exchanged between every time a wave breaks, there's carbon dioxide, sort of flowing in and out. So about a third of the extra in the atmosphere, carbon dioxide has been absorbed by the oceans, and it's eaten up by plankton and so on. And on the land, it's the vegetation that takes it in, which then makes it into soil carbon. So that's how it's sunk. But I'm not sure if that answers the question. But in the biosphere, the forests hold 90% of the above ground carbon. The soil carbon changes, but very slowly. So it's all about changing the forests. If we want to get serious about climate change, it's all about forests. This tinkering around with so-called regenerative grazing it's a nonsense. It's smoke and mirrors. There was a big report out of Oxford Uni that said it's smoke and mirrors. You can't have carbon neutral, regenerative grazing. It's nonsense. But they still do it, and it's still supported by a lot of people. And universities have masters programs that teach it, for God's sake. But it's all about forests. That's the future. If we can focus on forests, then we will stop this climate behemoth.
We had another question. How do we get into the churches and so-called spiritual centers? The Pope has been in the news, and I was raised Catholic. And when I first started Climate Diet, I wrote to the Pope and said he was working on his environmental encyclical in 2021. And I said, why don't we go back to meatless Fridays? And you would get a huge change from the population going back to when I grew up, you did not eat meat on Fridays. But we didn't get actually any response from the Pope. So I think there were some other comments in there, but in the interest of our last speaker, my daughter, Erin, let's turn it over to Erin's cooking show. So we have about 15 minutes, Erin. Is that enough?
Sure. We'll do it quickly.
Okay, great. And thanks everybody for being a part of this. And let's see, we still have a lot of people that are with us. Take it away, Erin.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you. And if you're still here, thank you for sticking around. This is the fun part of the show, right? Talking about food. If you're vegan, you're always thinking about what are you going to eat, browsing the menus. And I just want to comment on Dr. Salis Rayo. He brought up such a good point. And I think it's really important that I sort of start with that, and then I'll go into what I'm making. But all plants contain all 9 essential amino acids. And we're right. We're taught in school that you get it from chicken, fish, beef, turkey, right? And you need the calcium from the milk. And it's so far from the truth. I'm going to show you right now how to make this super salad, which I make every day. And this salad has 34.4 grams of protein, and there is no animal products in it. So I start off with kale. I hope everybody can see. And kale can be a little tough. So I just spray some avocado oil or olive oil on it. And then you just massage it. That gets all that sort of kind of toughness out of it. And then you can also like tear it up into little pieces. So like kale's not hanging out of your teeth when you go to eat the salad, as it sometimes can. And another thing I like to do is a lot of different lettuce. So kale on its own already has over 2 grams of protein. So then if you add in, say, something like spinach, spinach has about 1 gram of protein. So now we're at 3. And again, you can keep massaging the kale and kind of pushing it, like kind of tearing it apart again. And then to help the absorption of iron on your greens, you're going to squeeze lemon. And that also helps with your dressing, right? But you're not adding a lot of calories or oil. And it just gives that, kind of dresses up the greens. Maybe if they were wilted a little bit, it helps liven them up a little bit. That's one of my favorite things to do. And then let's just go quickly down the road. And then if we have questions about any of this, please ask away. So then again, and all of this can be customizable to what you like. If you don't like spinach or kale, use arugula, use romaine, whatever you like. They all have protein in them. And then sprouts. Sprouts is a really big immune boosting superfood that I love. And there's so many different kinds, right? So now we've built our base sort of the salad. And I always put it in a big container and eat it with a spoon because it's always so much food. And then let's talk about some mushrooms and some broccoli. These are really high in protein too. Mushrooms, 1.2 grams for one mushroom. And broccoli is an interesting one too, 2 grams of protein. And broccoli per calorie has more protein than steak. So for people who are still like, how do you get your protein? I mean, it's not hard. This salad again has over 34 grams of protein. Now, in this particular recipe, I am using a little bit of raw romesco broccoli and regular broccoli and just some button mushrooms. But again, you can customize that. Then we've got some yellow pepper next. Any peppers are good. Peppers have, let's see how many protein grams. 1. So 1 gram of protein there. Then I've got some carrots and some cauliflower. And carrots are so good because the vitamin C, and they boost your immunity, and they even help with controlling diabetes. And that is something that we hear a lot about in this country, right? Diabetes everywhere. And then I've got some cabbage. And I've just got a mixture of organic cabbage. And if you can, always organic, right? Less pesticides, things that we don't want that mess up our endocrine system and lead to inflammation and disease down the road. We want to stay away from that. Now, so far, I've got, I don't know, maybe about 9 things. Let's talk about one of my favorite parts, the beets. Beets are so good. Think of the color of beets, right? They're so nutritionally boosting for your blood, right? And believe it or not, beets have a little bit of protein in them too, 1.1 grams. And if you're an athlete, they help to improve your athletic performance. So beets are a really good powerhouse, and some sweet potato. And believe it or not, sweet potatoes have 2 grams of protein. So we're just loading up all the protein and all the nutrients. I talk a lot about nutrient dense foods when I work with my clients on their nutrition, because why do we want to waste calories on food that's not giving us anything, right? We want to feel good. We want to get that energy. We want to live longer. We want to live not just longer, but also healthy longer, right? Picking up our grandkids, being able to live on our own, not relying on sitting around all the time. So let's eat with vibrancy. And all of this is good for our bodies and the planet. Okay, so nutritional yeast, nooch. I'm not sure if anybody knows what that is, but if you don't, then you need to include it in your diet. It's a protein powerhouse. Nutritional yeast has 2.5 grams per tablespoon. So I put about 1 tablespoon on here. It has a little bit of a cheesy flavor, but not so strong that it would like take your salad in a weird direction. Trust me, I know I do this every day. And then ground flax seeds. Ground flax seeds have 1.5 per tablespoon. So we're just loading this salad up with many flavors, many nutrients, and you can change this around. And then Brazil nuts. So if you're vegan, sometimes you could be low in a nutrient called selenium, right? So one of the best ways to get selenium into your diet is through Brazil nuts. And you don't need a lot. They add a great crunch to your salad. And again, high in protein. Brazil nuts have 2 grams of protein. So you just sprinkle them on top of your salad to give you that crunch. And now lentils. So you can add any bean you want to your salad, but I particularly like lentils. They're one of my favorites and they're a powerhouse, right? Lentils have 8 grams of protein. So sprinkle them on your salad or garbanzo beans or kidney beans, whatever you like. It can be, again, tailored to what you, I like lentils though, because they sort of have a little spice to them, not spicy, but just this peppery kind of flavor. So we can just sprinkle those on your salads. And then guess what's next? My favorite, avocado. I guess beets are probably my favorite, but a little avocado goes a long way. And guess what? Avocado has protein in it too, 1 gram. So we're going to sprinkle that on. And that kind of is what I do on a daily basis to get just one of my meals every day, like nutrient dense, powerhouse, loaded with protein, loaded with fiber. Getting that sweet potato in there too is the good carbs for you, right? And then let's talk about what we all like to talk about when we eat a salad, because people think, oh gosh, that's it. What about the dressing? Well, that's my favorite part because my dressing is 3 ingredients: squeezable tahini, which you can order off of Amazon, organic. And tahini, believe it or not, has 8 grams of protein. So, and you don't need a lot because it's really creamy, it's dense, again, nutrient dense, right? And you're just going to squeeze it right onto your salad. You don't have to make a dressing that's separate. You can just kind of drizzle that on the top, maybe about a tablespoon. And then white balsamic vinegar is my favorite vinegar of choice. And again, you don't add any oil to this. You don't need to because the squeezable tahini gives it the creaminess. I feel like gives it that, like, I feel like I'm eating something kind of decadent. And then my last thing is some organic maple syrup, and just a splash. And maple syrup is definitely lower on the glycemic index, sort of a better sweetener than anything else, I believe. And also date paste is good, and monk fruit. Those are better for you sweeteners. And then you just mix everything in, right? And now we've got ourselves this beautiful, colorful, high in antioxidants, high in protein, 34 grams of protein, and also like you're feeding your body like such good ingredients that you're gonna feel energized. And this is something I talk on a daily basis because being vegan, people are so interested in what we're eating, right? What do you get? Where do you get your protein? How do you get your nutrients? What are you eating? And it's like it's a rainbow. You can eat anything and create some of these meals that I do on a daily basis that are just nourishing for not only your body but longevity and nutrients and your skin health. We forget that that's our biggest organ. So what are we putting into our bodies? Staying hydrated is really important. So that's my little cooking demonstration. My big salad, I kind of do that on a daily basis, and I try to get my health coaching clients to do that too. Just really incorporating some really good nutrient dense foods into your diet on a daily basis is a good habit to create, right? So one of your meals every day could be something like this. And I always make it ahead of time the night before and just leave the dressing off to the next day. And I've got myself something prepared in the refrigerator that's good for me. It tastes great. And let's think about what that is doing to our climate, right? Less meat on our plates, but we're still getting great amount of protein and nutrients and fiber and full of vitamins. And that helps to remove the unwanted toxins in our body. So this is really important. So any questions anybody has, or if you need more of a recipe, certainly reach out to us in the chat and let us know. We can certainly circulate that around. Any questions anybody has for me though? I would love a question.
Well, someone made a comment and they said, good reminder for me to buy more Brazil nuts.
Yes, Trader Joe's sells organic Brazil nuts. And again, they're high in selenium, and some plant-based humans like myself probably could be a little low in selenium. I would have to have that tested, but why not just eat 3 Brazil nuts every day and include it in your diet? It's a great way. It's a good amount of protein, and it's really crunchy to add to a salad. And I just like Brazil nuts. They're great. And walnuts too. Is another one that I usually use. And walnuts are like the highest good for you omega-3s out of all of the nuts. So that's a really good tip too, right? If we're going to eat a big salad, let's make it as nutrient dense as we can and as high in protein as we can. And let's make it tasty. And no store-bought dressings. Have you ever looked at a store-bought dressing and seen the label? I mean, it's got 18 ingredients. And can you pronounce those? So if you can't pronounce those, how does your body understand what to do with those ingredients, right? Let's make it easy. All of these things that I shared with you today are things that our body recognizes. And even just using that little bit of maple syrup is really high in polyphenols and also really high in antioxidants, and it adds a little fun to your salad.
Well, Erin, someone wrote that their mouth is watering. That sounds absolutely delicious. And I'd like to just tell everyone that the reason her dad and my husband are vegans, so we started vegetarian. Erin bought us a book 2 decades ago called The China Study. And we read that book and you were already a vegan. And Erin practiced what she preaches. She created an energy bar, a vegan energy bar, and then she moved on to Good Mood Foods and why don't you talk about your new product?
Yeah, so this is my newest product. Is called the Good Mood Foods, and they are energy bites. They are 100% organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, wheat-free, dairy-free, soy-free, and they also contain organic ashwagandha and maca. And if you're not familiar with adaptogens, you should learn what they are and include them daily in your life. They really help with stress, anxiety, sleep, brain fog. And I like ashwagandha and maca because maca can give you a little bit of energy, but not like caffeine. It's very sustainable and you wouldn't feel like a caffeine jolt. And then ashwagandha is sort of, I call it the gateway into adaptogens. It's a really good adaptogen that I take on a daily basis, but that's also in my bites too. And I'm really proud of this product. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I had an energy bar out for a while, and I switched to the bites because I really noticed that I wasn't eating a whole bar. Sometimes I would eat like a half a bar and there would only be these little pieces left over. So that's why I switched to the bites. And it's a great way to just incorporate a really good for you snack that's not sugary. Kids love it. It's dark chocolate and peanut butter. And again, fully loaded with protein, but like plant proteins and just good organic ingredients. So if you can read every ingredient, you know what they are, and it tastes good. So I feel like I'm really proud of this product. So my website is thegoodmoodfoods.com. So if you're interested to learn more, please visit us and follow us on Instagram at The Good Mood Foods. And again, if anybody wants the recipe for the salad, I can certainly send that out. And thank you guys for including me in this great event on Earth Day. Happy Earth Day.
Erin, I don't know if you want to put your website in the chat.
Sure. I can do that.
Well, this has been an incredible Earth Day, and thank you all to have such an amazing presentation from so many different people, contributing so many different aspects of the whole issue of what we eat and how we can make the planet a safer place for all of us and a place we can stay a lot longer.